Before watching this video, we need to know about what is a consumer. The consumers are organisms that receive energy by consuming other organisms. Consumers dominate most of a food chain. They have important roles to play within an ecosystem, such as balancing the food chain by keeping an animal populations at a reasonable number. Without proper balance, an ecosystem can collapse. Another concept that we need to know is what is a producer? The producers are organisms that make their own food. Producers create food for themselves and also provide energy for the rest of the ecosystem. Any green plant, like a tree or grass, as well as algae and chemosynthetic bacteria, can be producers. Both producers and consumers are important for the food chain. The last concept that we need to know is about decomposers. The decomposers are the garbage men of the animal kingdom. They take all the dead animals and plants, consumers and producers, and break them down into their nutrient components so that plants can use them to make more food and become this into energy.
Together, abiotic and biotic factors make up an ecosystem. Abiotic factors are the non-living parts of an environment. This includes things such as sunlight, temperature, wind, water, soil, and naturally occurring events such as storms, fires, and volcanic eruptions. Abiotic factors can be climatic, related to weather, or edaphic, related to soil. Climatic factors include air temperature, wind, and rain. Edaphic factors include geography such as topography and mineral content, as well as soil temperature, texture, moisture level, pH level, and aeration. Changes in air temperature affect the germination and growing patterns of plants, as well as the migration and hibernation patterns in animals. Biotic factors include all living beings of an ecosystem, such as plants and animals. Biotic factors impact both their environment and each other. The presence of or absence of other organisms influences whether a species needs to compete for food, shelter, and other resources. Different species of plants may compete for light, water, and nutrients. Some microbes and viruses can cause diseases that may be transmitted to other species, thus lowering the population. Beneficial insects are the primary pollinator of crops, but others have the potential to destroy crops. Insects also may carry diseases, some of which can be transmitted to other species. The presence of predators impacts the ecosystem. The effect this has depends on three factors: the number of predators in a given environment, how they interact with prey, and how they interact with other predators. The existence of multiple predator species in an ecosystem may or may not impact each other, depending on their preferred food source, the size of the habitat, and the frequency and quantity of food required. The greatest impact is made when two or more species consume the same prey.
The scientific name of the goats, there are two types. The domestic ones, that is called Copraharcus, and the mountain goats, that is called Oramus americanus. Habitat. Mountain goats are found in the Rocky Mountains, typically in Alaska, western Montana, central Idaho, South Dakota, Colorado, and Washington. Domestic goats are raised all over the world in almost every type of terrestrial biomes. The main habitat requirements for a domestic goat are grass to eat and a clean ventilated shelter, according to the ADW. Biotic and abiotic factors. They need water, which is abiotic, and grass, that is biotic. Position in the food chain, they are in the level 2 of the food web. They eat grass, they are consumers, and they are found by foxes. Consumer times, herbivores. The importance in the food chain is that they are some of the main food of the foxes.
This is the Asian elephant. The scientific name of the Asian elephant is Elephas maximus. They are found most often in savannas, greenlands, and forests, but occupy a wide range of habitats, including deserts, swamps, and highlands in the tropical and subtropical regions of Africa and Asia. They usually live in climates living in tropical, although in some parts of the temperature is slightly colder than typical of tropical climates because they are adaptable to different habitats. However, the temperatures in the higher mountain forests can be much colder. The biotic and abiotic factors of the elephants. Okay, so some abiotic factors that live in the Asian elephants in habitats are tigers, rhinos, and different kind of plants like bamboo. The abiotic factors of the elephant are water, oxygen, temperature, and sunlight. Now, the position in the food chain for the Asian elephant. The elephant and rhino are primary consumers. They are herbivores, feeding on a variety of vegetation types, including grasses, forbs, roots, bulbs, tubers, leaves, flowers, shrubs, bark, etc. They fill a distinct niche as bulk grazers and bulk browsers in the food chain. The importance of the Asian elephant in the food chain. So they're important because they are keystone species playing an important role in maintaining the biodiversity of the ecosystem in which they live. During the season, elephants use their tusks to dig water. Whenever they live, elephants live during that is full of seeds from the many plants they eat.
The scientific name of the giraffe is Giraffa camelopardalis. They are native of Africa, but the subspecies can habit in different areas with different vegetation. They live in a hot climate and are found in the savanna regions where there are distinct wet and dry seasons. The abiotic factors are water, temperature, climate, rocks, and anything that isn't living and is around the giraffe ecosystem. The biotic factors are lions, hyenas, leopards, trees, shrubs, and anything that is living and is around the giraffe ecosystem. The giraffe is classified as a primary consumer in the food chain because it gets its energy from plants because it's herbivore. The importance of the giraffe in the food chain is that it helps to control the growth of vegetation and some insects, because they are tall, they can see the predators and they can escape from them.
I'm gonna talk about the lion. Its scientific name is Panthera leo. Its habitat is the grassland, savanna, dense scrub, and open woodland. The lions live in a hot climate and are found in the Africa savanna regions, where there are distinct wet and dry seasons. And now the biotic and abiotic factors. The biotic factors is, for example, the zebra, the gazelles, because they are food, and the lion feed from them. And the abiotic are the weather, the climate, and the water, because they are fundamental elements in where the lion live. And now the position of the lion in the food chain. Lions are a tertiary predator and they are at the top of the food chain in the African savanna. Okay, now the importance of the lion in the food chain. The lions play a key role in the food chain by helping to control the herbivore population. If the herbivore population is not regulated, the increase of the competition among these species will cause some extinction, and this will affect the biodiversity.
The scientific name of the zebra is Icus burkeli. Though they live in Africa, each species has its own home area, and the recommended climate for them is a temperature climate. If they are in hot areas, they will get more stripes. Some of the biotic factors are grass, water, oxygen, and temperature, and they don't have biotic factors. Zebras eat grass, leaves, and wood, and they are eaten by lions, hyenas, and other carnivores. They are primary consumer and they are eaten by secondary consumers. The zebra is important because it feeds lion and carnivore animals, as well as its dead bodies feed the grass.
Well, the antelope is an animal that it is known in the scientific area as the Oryx iraquatus. It is known as a deer that has a pair of horns along its head, and it is common on some areas like the hot and the cold. The areas where it is abundant are white because it is original from the African savannas, but even though there are some species that were emigrated by the human to other areas as the North American, as the cold ones, or to medium range temperatures like on other regions that are between the areas of the Mediterranean and the North. Biotic and antibiotic factors are the biotics that are the antelopes, the elephants, the giraffes, the zebras, and other kind of species of animals and plants that are on this environment. And the antibiotic are like the rocks, the soil, and other non-living things or species, even though
in the food chain is a little low because since they herbivores, and this means that they only eat plants, but there are other animals like lions or tigers that are abundant on their zones and accustomed to eat them because they need to eat both meat and another kind of plants, but mostly the meat of the animals that are mostly vulnerable, as the deers and the antelopes. The consumer type of these animals are, like I said, that this means that its classification of consuming is that herbivores, and this means that they mostly eat plants like fruits and vegetables. And finally, the importance on the food chain of these animals is that since it's a type of food to the carnivores ones, the carnivores depend most on this type of species subsistence and also to make their communities grow, since they need to eat constantly because of their consuming habits.
Well, this information that was compilated in this presentation can be useful for many scientific fields because this information it's rich on the explanation about some animal species and also about its surroundings, of its environment, of biotic and antibiotic factors that interact with these species that were explained in this video, and the information can be analyzed by other people to be used on other kind of purpose as teaching ones.